This is going to be the astrological forecast for the week of February 2nd to February 8th. So, again, we're just starting over. We're starting fresh with that. On Monday, tomorrow, Mercury is going to sextile Chiron, and you're going to notice, especially because we have a lot of dense concentration of planets in Aquarius, these sort of things are going to be touching on Chiron a lot. Chiron's gonna get touched. Okay, that. Anyways, so so that's happening on Monday. On Tuesday, Uranus stations direct. On Wednesday, we have Venus sextile Chiron. On Thursday, Mercury is going to square Uranus. On Friday, Mercury moves into Pisces. Nothing on Saturday, and then on Sunday, Venus squares Uranus. So we have some sort of heavy shifts, like as far as these Aquarian planets that are in Aquarius are going to be making some aspects that we're going to be moving through with all of these parts. And I've been really finding this dense configuration so interesting, guys, because we had all of this happening in Capricorn, and now it's moving into Aquarius. It's all going to move into Pisces. And so it's been a while since we've had such a dense cluster of personal planets and luminaries together. And again, with Pluto, I'm just thinking about the babies that are being born right now. Like, very interesting. Very interesting. So, anytime any of these planets shift signs, they're all like following after each other. And so any aspect they make, it's almost as though each part of our sort of identity and the core pieces that make up the core of a human, which would be your will and your drive, which is Mars, your ego, the sun, Venus, love, Mercury, communication. And then Moon is a luminary, which is hanging out over here, right? This is like a different level of emotional aspects that come in. So, but all of these personal planets hanging out over in Aquarius is very interesting. So it's almost like we're all going through these different upgrades as these planets shift through these last signs. So very interesting. Thank you guys for liking the live and sharing it. I appreciate it. So let's get started with Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and shift a day ahead. So we're looking at the 2nd here. Mercury is hanging out at, let's go ahead and shift the time just a little bit from days to hours so we can get that exact time. Pew, pew, pew. Mercury is moving quick because Mercury in a couple weeks is going to be stationing retrograde, which will be a whole nother conversation in itself. So on the 2nd, we have Mercury sextiling Chiron. This is very neat. And it's reminding me of when Mercury was in Sagittarius making a trine. It's a similar texture, but a little bit more fanning the flames per se. So to break this down into layman's terms, Chiron is the wounded healer, right? And so Chiron, we've been collectively moving through this energetic tone of who am I, right? This kind of wound around identity has been coming up a ton for all of us in unique ways, depending on where it's at in your natal chart. But at a collective level, this identity wound's present. And so with Mercury making a sextile here on the 2nd, this is bringing in this sort of inquiry, an inquiry to like, why? Right? And the thing about Aquarius is it's the higher mind. It's being connected to everything and everybody through this sort of more electric current versus Pisces would be more emotional. This is more like intellectual aspects. So this sextile, so our thoughts and our ideas, so this is Mercury, our mind, is feeling very harmonious with this Chiron hanging out here in Aries, where this is kind of creating a strength to your vulnerability. It's almost like instead of this Chiron wound being painful, it's a little bit like more sacred. This vulnerability almost feels like a strength. And what's coming to mind is Thanks for the follow from Stars. I appreciate it. And again, thank you guys for liking and sharing. I'm going to take a sip of my drink real quick. I was getting porched. I did multiple natal chart readings this morning, so I've been talking a lot today, which so grateful, so grateful. I love reading for people. It's so amazing. So to dive a little bit deeper, this feels like an opportunity to open up communication around our pain points and like having healthy conversations about identity, about like, especially the fact that this is happening right after this Leo full moon, this aspect, this sextile it's creating this sort of invitation into like what it means to be seen while you're not fully developed yet, as far as like a finished product, right? It's like the artist being seen in the process. And there's something really beautiful to that, because it brings in this sort of quality of humanness where, especially with social media, sweet friends, we tend to see only the finished products. We don't get to see the process. But if we take a look at people who have really grown and are in integrity, they share the whole process, right? Those tend to be the people that I really look up to, is like people that share the process of how they got to where they're at. So this sextile feels like open communication, whether it's with other people or with an internal dialogue of like really seeing like, you know, like how can I use this to my advantage, or use the sort of pain that comes up with identity of like not fully understanding the identity currently. How can I move through that? Sorry, there was a weird sound. Yeah, it feels good. I'm liking this energy. These sextiles feel really, really cool and a bit relieving, like pressure off the heart a little bit. It kind of feels like a collective sigh of like, oh shit, we're all kind of on the same page, instead of this sort of like competition that I think can come, especially from this Leo full moon. Hello, welcome. Thank you guys again for liking and sharing the live. It helps get the content out to other people who might enjoy it. And I did shift my live time, so it feels a little weird. I don't see like my normal faces that I normally see at 4 p.m. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting. New textures. Oh, thank you. Yay, I'm glad, Marshally. Yay, I'm so glad. That's my hope with this. I hope that there's some wisdom that comes through that people can, you know, move forward with. So this is great. I'm excited for this energy of just like feeling that. Now moving towards, let's jump the next day. We're going to be looking at the 3rd. This is Tuesday. So we've got, thank you for the follow, Marshally. Let me shift it to hours. Oh, my neck has been hurting. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Hi, guys. Okay. On Tuesday, Uranus in Taurus stations direct. Yay. So Uranus went retrograde a couple months ago and moved back into Taurus, and it's been wrapping up these lessons around relating to the body, wealth. It's very interesting. Guys, it's a very interesting energy, especially because Taurus rules over our physical possessions, and our first physical possession is our body. That's what Taurus rules over, is our body, right? And there's this something sacred to that, and something that this Uranus retrograde was kind of wrapping up with these final degrees of Taurus, of really allowing us to reconnect to what we value, to reconnect to our worth, to reconnect with like really understanding the essence of Taurus. And the essence of Taurus is like what it means to be in a human body, what it means to interact with society at a physical level, right? To create with your hands, to eat good food, to play. It's very, very physical, right? So it's been introspective, this energy. It's been introspective. And now that Uranus is shifting direct and then is going to eventually move into Gemini in a couple months, and I don't have my back porch up because I have it down. It turns into a porch, my back wall. But normally on it, I have my entire like calendar for the transits. So I can't see it. I don't remember what the exact date is for Uranus moving into Gemini. If you do know, you can drop it in the chat. But now that Uranus is direct, it's almost like now we're going to be able to, oh, I heard stand on business. Fuck yeah. It's like being able to really like stand in your authenticity and your value, right? It's been in the space. Again, when we have retrograde planets, it's internal. We're reflecting inwards. So we've been reflecting on worth. And now with Uranus moving direct, there's sort of a clearer, I wouldn't be surprised if different ways of receiving money or worth or value or like, you know, things come through where there's been sort of a reframing. It's like things haven't really had forward motion. The thing about Uranus is it's unexpected. It's unexpected energy. So there's going to be like recalibration that happens. I mean, I'm not sure if any of you are keeping up with like the stock market or things like that. Like silver, like just like went up and then just dropped. Like there's a lot of shifting. Hi Zoe, thank you. I had to put them on. I was like, my inner child wants to come out to play with this Leo full moon, so I'm gonna put on my elf ears. I feel more myself with these on. Like I'm looking at myself, and my inner child's like, yeah, it feels so good. So thank you. Yeah. Yes, and these ones I've pierced them myself, so they're super cool. Highly recommend, and like piercing them yourself and then like using some like makeup to like give them a little bit more like depth. I get nerdy. Your girl likes to frequent a Renaissance festival or two. So okay, continuing about this Uranus direct. I'm excited for this because I feel like we've all kind of been at this like frustrated. I'm speaking from personal lived experience as well when I talk astrology too. But I'm going to speak about my experience. It's felt like I'm understanding my worth, but things yet outside of me aren't fully reflecting that. And I feel like the shift of Uranus moving direct is going to open a lot of opportunity for more access to physical needs being met. So it's going to be sweet. I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing like I'm seeing like a dragon, like, and instead of like sitting on its riches, it's like, oh, I can just like share this kind of thing. Yeah. Anything else that this Uranus direct wants to? More clarity on where to invest your energy too. Especially because Uranus has been in Taurus for the last 7 years. We've been really redefining our connection to money, wealth, values, things like that. And so just kind of take a look at where Taurus is within your own natal chart and just reflecting on like what has been my story relating to my body, to money, and value the last 7 years. Like, where has that been? It's very interesting for me now that I'm reflecting back on it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So definitely invite you guys to reflect on that. Okay. Let's go and switch here. Now we have Mercury making a square to this Uranus. And just a reminder for those of you who are popping in here for the first time, when I talk about these transits, it's when they are like exactly making what I would say exactitude, which means they're in the exact degree of making an aspect to each other. And an aspect meaning opposition, square, trine, quincunx, sextile. There's so many different kind of aspects, and these are just the planets having conversations with each other. That's where, as astrologers, we're getting this information, is the planets talking to each other. So on nope, I jumped ahead. I jumped too far ahead. I was like, wait a damn minute. On Wednesday the 4th, Venus is going to be sextiling Chiron now. So Venus is now at 23 degrees, making that sextile to Chiron. So again, kind of like reaffirming that part that happened with Mercury just 2 days prior. So that sort of push of like, oh, having a softer gratitude for the wound of identity, right? Now Venus is making a sextile here too. So which brings in the way we give and receive love. And now Venus in Aquarius is very interesting energy. It's very oriented towards understanding that friendship is a beautiful, like, it doesn't have, don't get me wrong, my Aquariuses, y'all love fantasy as much as the other. And so with Venus making this sextile over to Chiron, welcome guys, hi. I'm seeing some new faces pop in. So Venus is what we love, how we love. It's going to make this beautiful connection over to Chiron, which is in relation to the strength of your vulnerability. Again, Chiron is like very deep in the trenches of identity wounds. And so Venus making this sextile here, it's almost like, oh, I like having that sort of softness to self of like, it's okay to not be 100%, right? And this brings in the concept of understanding that I'm not always going to be 100% every day, and that 100% looks different every day. And I feel like a lot of people are now getting accustomed to their energetic levels, who they are. And I see Venus is kind of being like, I'm hearing the song from Toy Story, the song like, you got a friend in me, you got a friend in me. Like there's kind of this feeling of camaraderie happening internally, and it might be showing up externally, where it's like, oh, we're not all this sort of, again, this illusion that everybody has it going on isn't really real, and that it's okay to be vulnerable and messy in the process of learning. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing, which I absolutely love. And Venus is just really kind of fanning the supportive flame here, right? Of like, I'm just seeing like, it feels very older sister energy of like, it's okay. Like, you got this, you keep going. And whether that is like an external influence that's like really showing this to you, or on your path realizing, oh, like, yeah, no duh, like Michelangelo didn't, make it big until after this time. And when we think about it, a lot of like major artists didn't actually have their accolades until they died, which is really morbid and sad. And this is kind of like understanding that, especially with Uranus going direct, guys, this really feels like knowing that you are a work in progress. And like that sometimes the external reality isn't fully caught up to what's happening inside, but Uranus moving direct, it feels like there's going to be a shift in the tide. Thank you, Paloma, for sharing the live. Appreciate it. Alana, don't worry, I see you in there. How you doing? How was your birthday? How are you doing in general with all this? I'm like, you good? Okay, cool, good. I'm like, you've been getting upgrades whether you like it or not. Good. I'm glad to hear it. It's funny. My brain always will like remember those like key like positions. Yeah. Yeah. Day by day is a good way. Yep. It's like chewing your food thoroughly instead of like, yeah. Oh, Graham, yay. My big sister called me. Oh, yay. That's good. Hello. Hi, guys. Yeah, feel free to chat in the chat. By the way, a lot of you guys, this is the first time I haven't really had like a very chatty chat, which I think is like okay too. But again, I did change my live stream time. Oh, she said, do you feel like this? Aw. Love big sisters. I don't have sisters. So that's like an energy that kind of eludes me. So I definitely living vicariously through you guys. Oh my gosh, yes, Alana, let's freaking do it. And if you want to do it in person, like let me know, because I know some people prefer that, but I also know that sometimes it's easier just through the online and computer stuff too. So just HMU, you know where I'm at, in my trailer in the woods. Yeah, okay. I really like these sextiles that are happening to Chiron for this week. It feels like, you know, I feel that a lot of us have been way too hard on ourselves. This Chiron in Aries has been fucking brutal, I'm not gonna lie. But it's good because it's humbling. In the way that knowing that everybody's going through this too, I think feels kind of nice, where it's like we're all kind of like faking it till you make it kind of energy, right? I don't know, it makes me feel better. But yeah. Let's go ahead and jump to the 5th. So now we have Mercury making this square to Uranus, and again Mercury is moving really, really quick right now. So the thing about Mercury, I have a Mercury retrograde masterclass if you guys want to buy the recording, but I might do another one. I don't know. No, actually not. Timing wise, that doesn't make sense, but maybe for the Mercury in Cancer retrograde, I'll do that. We'll see. You guys are hearing my ideas live. We'll see. Also, my throat's getting super dry because everybody in this valley is burning stuff, and we are too. And the smoke is literally in my household right now, but I'm like, it's cleansing me. It's cleansing me. The valley's being cleansed. So this square is. So for those of you who are new to astrology, squares are 90-degree angles, and the way I like to describe it, the teacher in me really likes to get all like, I like you guys to understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to describe it to you. So you know the tectonic plates, and they move and they change, and when they like shift, you know, they rub up against each other and something happens because it's tension, and tension has to be released. And whether that's an earthquake, volcanic eruption, tsunamis, it's a big thing and it affects things around it, right? That's a 90-degree angle. That's a square that's happening. So Uranus and Mercury making this square is like not fun, to put it simply. Again, Mercury is our mind, and Mercury's in Aquarius right now. So there's this kind of idea of like being so plugged into the collective consciousness, because Aquarius does that it's just not aligning well with this Uranus direct, right? So ideas, thoughts can feel frustrating and expiring, right? And the square brings this sort of freedom and chance for like new beginnings, right? With this Uranus square. And so it's like, though there is tension, there's relief that comes from the pressure. And I feel like what's coming through, this is very interesting, is this Mercury in Aquarius is sort of this ideal around how society functions, right? And the thing about Aquarius is Aquarius sees through the fucking bullshit of a society. That's why Aquarius kind of detaches itself from society, because it's really weird. The world we live in is weird, and Aquarius sees that. And with Uranus and Taurus, which is interesting because Uranus rules over Aquarius, so this square doesn't feel as tense as maybe it being in a different sign. Anyways, my brain's doing the thing where like I'm understanding what I'm saying and it's a bit more complex than I can explain to you guys. But Uranus making the square, well, Mercury making the square to Uranus is like, there's clarity with Uranus direct, but it feels almost frustrating, and it feels like it might go against some of the bigger dreams and ideas you have of like maybe allowing in this like level of value system in it. It just feels like there's this, it's like, I know what I want, I know what I deserve, but I also, again, I'm coming in with the Aquarian edge, which is like, but I want everybody to have and deserve this too. And so that is a very interesting piece that can come in with the Aquarian energy, because Aquarius really, really wants the best for everybody at the end of the day. It's like, I want everybody to be in peace. I want there to be like equal connection. It's equity versus equality, right? It's like everybody should be balanced. And with Uranus and Taurus, it's kind of like, but like, you have to understand your value and your worth and like making a change to that. And so there's just friction happening here of like, what really makes sense? What's going to make sense in this context? And so it might come up in like rough conversations with some people not agreeing with your values or systems not making sense as far as like your thoughts. And it's just going to be a rough conversation of like trying to understand that and how to move forward, but it will give you clarity on the other side. Can you guys hear that frog? Frog. So that sort of tension is coming up where it's like, I know the greater picture that I want, and it's almost like your mind has formulated it, but society as a whole isn't yet there. And that's, again, Uranus is an outer planet, so it's more society based. So there's just tension of like, yeah, it's giving like human rights stuff. Is kind of this tension that's coming up here, which you can apply that how you want based off of where you're at geographically. And like on a personal level, again, astrology is very interesting because we are going through those themes within ourselves, and then our ecosystem kind of reflects that too, where it's like, you know, where is there parts of power within you that are at odds with different parts of you that are evolving. So evolution, guys. That's what this does. Astrology is freaking crazy. So that's happening on Thursday, the 5th. And then if we jump ahead another day, Mercury already has moved into Pisces. That's how quick this shift is happening. So it's like, this is like just a quick moment. Quick. Mercury's flying 2 degrees a day, which is fast for Mercury. Mercury moving into Pisces. Now communication is connected to everything, because Pisces is the last sign. So it's, I like to equate it to this sort of feeling of like moments before death, right? It's sort of like this universal, like, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, your light flashing before your eyes, like seeing things and seeing that it's seeing the unseen ultimately. And so we're going to have this depth of like connection to everything around us, a bit more compassion. Words can feel a bit dreamy, where ideals now shift from this sort of intellectual space to like heart-based like feeling, and it's kind of bringing the thoughts down to the heart. And it's like, but where is my heart in this? Where are my feelings in this instead of my mind? Because the mind and heart sometimes operate on different frequency, and it's like, can we find alignment with those things, right? So yeah, it's beautiful. Mercury in Pisces can be hard to communicate, because how does one communicate such feelings that our language can't yet describe, because it's feelings? And I like to think of this almost as like how we communicate with our animals. Like, you don't even have to say anything to a cat for them to like understand you at a certain degree. It's how like babies connect to their parents. I've been on an Avatar kick watching the Avatar movies, and I think of the way that they like bond with Awa, right? And they like connect, and it's like that connection. That's Pisces energy, guys. That's like connecting to something that is so much bigger than us. And so we're going to be feeling that. And so communication is going to feel a little like more emotionally driven, softer. Yeah, plur. Yes. Peace, love, unity, respect. A fucking men. Yeah, it's definitely that energy. For sure. And it can be a little bit disorienting. I think of people who have their Mercury placements and water signs, and communicating communicating can be hard at this time, because like it's almost like, can you just hold, like, can we just get close enough and merge, and then you'll understand me? And we can't really do that with everybody, right? So lots of more dreamy ideals, a lot more fantasy coming in, and this again is going to be a prelude for the next bit of time, because all these planets are going to be moving into Pisces. Mercury's kind of leading the way, so our mind is in front of all the other parts of us. So it's almost like our mind's like, we're going to dream realm, and everything else is like, but we're still like we're like Neo in the Matrix right now. We're not ready to go to like dream realm. That's where the inner union comes in. We're learning to share. I am we. Yes. And again, I had like the most amazing client session this morning, and like it's very refreshing to like hear this sort of narrative of people find, like, a lot of people are in that space of like, oh, like when I take care of me, I'm taking care of everybody, right? Because the one thing that we're responsible for is just ourselves. And don't worry, I'm looking at you, Libra rising peoples, and that was not directed at you, Grem, but it fits. You know, it's like we got to put the oxygen mask on us first. And that kind of is when we move into Pisces realm, it can be like, but I can say like Pisces can be a martyr. Let's be honest. Pisces can be a martyr. Yeah. And so it's like, I'll just save everybody. And it's like, no. Save you. And that's kind of where this like Neptune and Aries energy feels really nice now that like this Pisces stuff, because Neptune's now in Aries, and it's bringing in this sort of edge of like, not losing oneself and everybody else, like the past 14 years has been, you know. So, really great shift. Hi, Seth. Thanks for stopping in. Hell yeah. I hope you're well. Now jumping to, we don't have any, direct transits happening on Saturday, but on Sunday, let's jump ahead 2 days. Venus will then be making, it's very interesting. It's early morning on Sunday. It's going to be 2 a.m. Pacific and 5 a.m. Eastern. So I'm going to jump and change this to a.m. See how it switched everything? Wow. Venus is making this square to Uranus now. So again, it's almost like all these parts of us are kind of passing through. Thanks, Spirit. Spirit's like, TSA. It's like a TSA check. I'm like, cool. What a very interesting analogy. I love when I like just get random things thrown into me. It's our goodness. Yes. Good, Graham. Good. It's like everything's going through like the Uranus security checkpoint now. We made it through the Pluto one, which was probably the more intense one. Following my instincts keeps coming up. My gratitude for Neptune and Aries. Yeah, that's literally all Neptune and Aries has been yelling at us, is like, follow your instinct, follow your gut. Like, you gotta do it. So this square now happening from Venus in Aquarius to Uranus in Taurus is now again where Venus in Aquarius is that deeper heart tone of what Mercury was speaking about when I was talking about on Wednesday. This is now bringing the heart into the conversation of like, I have like my mind. It's very interesting because Venus in Aquarius wants to it's funny. A lot of people that have Aquarius placements, I one time did an interview for a podcast, with a poly couple, and I was like talking about polyamory within astrology and like what place, and both of them had Venus in Aquarius, and it's kind of like this, like, it's a very different experience. And that's coming up where it's like, like, I love my friends, I love my family, I love my partner, I love these people. Yes, yeah. Okay, Alana, yeah, no, and it's very interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense of just this, like, I love, yeah, okay, all for, yeah. So it's like, I love all these people and I love all these connections, and like, it's real. And it's like understanding that, like, I don't have to fit these narratives into a box. Like, I can just love because I love. And, that kind of blurs that line between Pisces and Aquarius. That's a very similar thing. And so, because Venus in Aquarius wants to be friends with everybody. Like, Venus in Aquarius is like, I want to, like, know what makes you work. It's very demisexual too. Like, I want to understand how your mind works, and like understand how you click, and like understand how we can work together and like create. And so again, this tension with Uranus and Taurus is like, but your values are changing. And so there's this weird, or even just societal values are changing. And so it's like, how do I create ease? And this tension is going to bring things up. That's all squares do, is it brings tension up so we can look at things. I personally love squares, but again, I am an emotional masochist, because there's so much you can learn from the intensity of our human emotions. And so these squares are bringing up, like there's a part of me that like really wants to, like, basically, create a, like, this is the example, is like, I want to make a compound where all my friends can live at. And Uranus and Taurus is like, but are all your friends going to be able to contribute at the same level that you are? And that's where this gets really humbling, because it's like values that are like, have been reformulated, meeting with like this higher mind of like wanting the collective to succeed. And so it's like really understanding how, like, there's no easy way through this. It's going to be unique for everybody, of like, oh, I have to sit with this and really, like, dig through like what comes up, because something will come up within this square. It's going to come to the surface of like, maybe I am not as good at, like, I'm thinking, like, if you're starting a business with somebody, right? That's very vulnerable. And if you start a business with somebody, you want to know all the parts and pieces that go into it, right? And making sure that the other people can live up to the value that you've placed on them too. And so there might be a reality check of like, maybe where your value, like where you've misplaced value on in love, right? And that's at Venus. And friendship keeps coming up because of the fact that it's in Aquarius. So, but again, just taking a peek at where all this is within your chart, and that's how we can get those deeper undertones of the astrology. Wow. I've been yapping. I love talking about astrology. But yeah, those are the transits for this upcoming week. And then next week, and then the following week, Saturn enters Aries, and then we got a freaking eclipse happening. And just a heads up for people who are watching, on I'm like, what are days right now? I'm a little tired. On Saturday, the 7th of February, I'm going to be hosting a Saturn Masterclass, and it's a full breakdown of like understanding how Saturn works, talking a little bit about Saturn moving into Aries, but like really understanding the lessons of Saturn. So there's limited spots for that. And then additionally, I'm trying something new out. God, source, whatever you want to call it, God, universe, source. told me to like have this container for this eclipse portal to like really hold people in. So I've created that and it's open, and I have it like an early bird pricing for people who want to sign up early and just like signing up for it. So yeah, it's going to be something very special because the eclipses that we have coming up. So on February 17th, we have a solar eclipse in Aquarius happening. And then on March 3rd, we have a lunar eclipse in Virgo happening. No, lunar eclipse in Pisces. No, Virgo. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. And it's a start of a new cycle and an ending of an old one. So there's this weird like shifting that's happening. It's going to be a very, normally eclipses are just automatically very just mind-boggling and strange. So yeah, questions, comments, concerns, astrology, life. Gonna jump back here and hello, computer. There we go. Again, to recap, as you guys are digesting all this information that I threw at you, on Monday the 2nd, we have Mercury sextile Chiron. On Tuesday the 3rd, we have Uranus stationing direct. On Wednesday the 4th, Venus then sextiles Chiron. On Thursday the 5th, Mercury squares Uranus. On Friday the 6th, Mercury moves into Pisces. And then on Sunday the 8th, we have Venus squaring Uranus. That is the astrology for this week ahead. It really feels like it's gearing us up for a lot of this eclipse energy and these bigger cycles that we're about to enter. It really feels like it's kind of that's such an interesting analogy. When you're reconnecting wires, if anybody's ever done electrical work, you have to strip back the plastic around it so you have access to the wires so you can reconnect it. And so then it's kind of vulnerable. And I feel like that's kind of what's been going on with us, is like we've been like, that plastic feels really, there's a lot more layers to it than we thought, and we're peeling it back so that we can reconnect to, I think, collective energy. But also when it comes to collective energy, it feels like also self. Right? Because when we connect back to us, we're actually connecting back to everybody. It's a very as within, so without, as above, so below. That's why I love astrology. Like, it's so rich and in depth. And the way that I read astrology now is far more intuitive because I have the knowledge of astrology, and now I'm trusting intuition to move it through. And it's been so delicious. Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for this Saturn Masterclass, Graham. I'm just ready to like help people understand Saturn, because Saturn is so feared in astrology, and he just genuinely wants us to learn our lessons. And like, he doesn't want it to be hard, but when you resist, it's gonna suck. So